This time from Yerushalmi Ma'asros, the article Oz V'Hard edition, Mamash at the top of Membez, Malv over Machar, and that is in the Vilna on Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, the third line out of the Mishnah of our Machar. And we say now to sell a field with Peros, which Regil on us a Ma'asros. What happens if you did sell them? Over a Machar. You weren't supposed to, but you did. So then the Gemara says, Ma'aser Mashu, of course, according to Pina, it's also itself. Ma'aser Mashu Ochel, the buyer has to Ma'aser whatever he eats. Ve'eno Ma'aser Mashu Mocher. The buyer does not have to they take Ma'aser off what he's eventually going to sell. Ve'eno Achroim Uraboim. And we're not concerned with the tricksters, meaning people of Averos. The Lifnei Iver is shaykh only with that which you give him to eat, and not with that which he sells to others, because the second buyer has to be concerned with himself. Evidently, normally we are concerned, obviously, that of Lifnei Iver, but here, evidently you buy a field, you assume that's mechubar, it's not. You do have to take off Ma'asros. The fact that the guys might not take off Ma'asros, that's not your problem. Even the Kiddush here is even to heal on his Ma'asros, and in which case the first guy should not have sold it, and now the second guy who buys it is an achrei for the third person. And so it comes out according to this Gemara. Then we have a header here in the Kavanaki Vim Hotzi B'chulei, and that's going back on the Mishnah. Motzi Chai B'Ma'asros. If you the rod took off, I would say about here. The person should not sell his tevin and his gefes and his zagim. Something is not named on the Ma'asros. That he should be motzi mashkim on them. If the guy is motzi mashkim, he's got from Ma'asros. So the Gemara says, Tani, lo yitrom. When it says you don't have to take a truma because truma is taken, we say on by estimate, so it's taken even on whatever's eventually going to be squeezed second time around from the dregs and so on and so forth. It's not just that you don't have to take a truma. You should not take a truma because truma is already taken off. It's not real truma. And if you don't have, if it's not real truma, don't take it off. Over a Torah, but if you take it off, the truma is valid truma because the Goyim Milsim Afreya that he was not, according to the way Mulas Yosef learns by the Kavanaki, that he was not happy with the Tanai Basin that the truma originally given should apply to everything later on because the truma is need to and therefore be taken on everything later on. He doesn't want it. He showed that it's not nichonoi. So therefore, the truma is about truma. No, we don't say Goyim Milsim Afreya. So he's like being mostly truma and when truma is already taken. Also truma shumafish, and that second truma when she takes off, which she's not supposed to, who tovla ma'aser. It's tevla in terms of ma'aser, meaning that it's not real truma. So therefore, you have to take ma'aser off on that as well. Just like take a ma'aser on everything else, you take off for the dregs the second time around, take a ma'aser on that truma as well. We know all of Yerushalmi, it's called Chavin Rabbanan because he came up from Chutz La'aretz, but not get through smicha. So it's called the Chavin Rabbanan. Boy asked for a question. Toram echad mishishim. It took the truma 1/60th. To echad mishishim ve'echad alakitim ba'atzonim, which is 1/60th of the main batch. But if you take out take the kri with that which is chopped off and that things which fell to the side and so on and so forth, it's only 1/60th. First, and those things should cut off, and those are the things aside, and that which is in the left with the A. What's the story? Is it valid truma or not valid truma? Because normally say persons, even if he's tsar ayin, he doesn't want less than 1/60th. Rabbi Yosef said, "V'lo masnisa." He's in our Mishnah. Shatem belibo al haktuin b'atzayim al tevin. This is he has in mind that also is going everything which is left on, left later on, in the dregs and so on and so forth. So the Chachami were Mako, and they said even though comes out the grand total that's less than 160, it's only 161st, but since the Raisa one chita exempts the entire creed, and these shirim are 40, 50, 60, 140, 150, and 60 of the Rabbanim. They said, okay, shoot for a 60th. But as the 61st, including all the stuff which comes from the second time around, so then it's not a problem. Okay, and then the next part of the Mishnah spoke about somebody who buys the Yerek in Syria, Archlobe Day on its Ma'asros. It's Chayev, which comes on its Ma'asros, is Potter. So, and this Gemara says, Tanya. Sada Shevia Shlishim Negoy. You have a field which in Syria, which it grew to a third of its growth in front of a guy. So it should be potter. Lachem many Yisrael, and then Jew buys it. Akiva Mer have to set as potter. Akiva says whatever it grows after is also potter. But since the Shas Chiyuv was the time and the guy, the Sev is also potter. Whatever it goes after is also potter. Chamer the Sev is chayiv. The Sev says no. The Sev is chayiv, and that's like Rebbe in our Mishnah. Rebbe in our Mishnah said, at the end, he said, Rebbe Omer Aflefi Cheshbon. This is the very end of the. It's going at the very end of the Mishnah. It goes back to the beginning of the Mishnah, and it's saying that it's a Cheshbon, meaning that it's actually wherever goes to the Sephas, you are chayiv. Rabbi Avina, V'ula bar Yishmael b'shem Rabbi Yelad said, "Achal chamilochi v'tosefes elish over." When Chachamim were mechayiv the tosefes, Rabbi and Rabbi the Mishnah and Rabbi and the Brisa, they only went according to the Shas Meiser of the purchase. And they didn't go according to the Shas Meiser of the purchase, but the Shas Meiser of the time when it grew. In other words, the Shlish Rishon, even though it was the Yad Goy, that determines the year of the Meiser. So you bought it, it grew a Shlish in the second year. You bought it in the third year. So you still take off, even though you only bought it in the third year, it goes after the Shlish was the second year, when it was still Ham Goy, and therefore you have a Meiser Sheni, not a Meiser Ani. Says more further. Actually, one explains it. Sheni, Ani, whatever it was. First Shlish determines it. Okay, Tanya Rabbi, Yoina said by Rabbi Ben Yossi, Omer, Minan L'Tful should be a Shlish, in Rosh Hashanah Shel Shvius, Shekonas is Abi Shvius. How do you know the grain which grew a third before Rosh Hashanah Shemitah that you can normally harvest during Shemitah? It doesn't have to be Shvius. Tam Lomar, because the pasuk says, it's to a saw uva shana shvis. You gather it's sheshin tizar sadech v'asafta for a saw uva shana shvis. So even stuff which goes to shana shvis, it's considered to be part of a saftas for a saw of the 6th year, as long as it was maybe shlish in the 6th year. Avina v'ula Rabbi Shimon Shemer said Asa the Rabbi Yonasan ben Yosi b'shitza Akiva Rabo. Yonasan Rabbi Yosi goes like Rabbi Akiva's Rabbi. Come on, Rabbi Akiva Marach Shlish Rishon Amalek. You go after the first leash, and then after the first leash means that after that the Tosefes is potter. The first leash is Yad Goy, the Tosefes is potter. That's what he said before. Can Rabbi Yosef Amar Achar Shlish Rishon Amalek? Can Rabbi Yosef ben Yosef Amar Achar Shlish Rishon Amalek? That's why Rabbi Yosef said that for Shebi Shlish ne Rosh Hashanah of Shemitah, even during Shemitah, you can gather it. Amar le Rabbi Zira l'Ravina. Rabbi Zira said to Ravina, Tati milatun amrin ve'im plin hadalada. So he says two things to say which seem to contradict each other. What are the two things? Hachatun amrin. Here you say Achachamim lo chivu b'tosefes el shavar. Even Chachamim, when they're mechayev, around the Tosefes, that you have to get meiser on it, it goes by the year in which it was maybe shlish, even though it was maybe shlish b'yad goy. Shema Yasheni Yasheni v'chui. V'achatur amru, yet here you say that Asher Rabbi Yossi b'shitas Rabbi Akiva Rabo, and it's the sounds like by Shvius you're pasking like Rabbi Yonason and like Rabbi Akiva's Rebbe. Which one is it? Are you pasking like Chachamim that you're chayiv in the Tosefes, just that goes after the year that maybe shlish, or you're pasking like Rabbi Akiva, like Yosef, that no, everything goes after maybe shlish. Afterwards, it's immaterial. That's why you can gather during Shemitah, and because there's no shlish. So which one is it? Which way do you actually hold? So for truth and advertising purposes, there are many different ways of interpreting this question, and besides many different ways of interpreting the question, there are also ways of interpreting the answer about to give. And the truth is that according to Lashon Gemara, the answer doesn't really answer the question. But we're going to go with as pashut pshat as possible. And even though it means doesn't quite answer the question, Gemara says, Ida Asya, Rabbi Yosef ben Yosef B'shitas Akiva Rabo. If you're going to say Rabbi Yosef ben Yosef goes to B'shitas Akiva Rabo, then you know that he's also going to Shitas Rabo and somebody else. Kamar Rabbi Akiva Mer Issa Svichim Do Torah, because Rabbi Akiva holds Issa Svichim Do Raisa, and and clearly Rabbi Yosef has to hold Issa Svichim Do Raisa because he's learning out the issue, the question of Svichim from a pasuk. He's saying if it grows before, primarily during Shishis, it goes to a Shlish. I'm sorry, during Shishis. So then there's no issue of harvesting it during Shemitah. It's not. There's no issue of Svichim involved. So therefore, it seems that he holds that Shitas Akiva Rabo about Issa Svichim being Doraisa. So Gemara's question and Gemara's answer don't seem to jive together. I'm not going to try and make them jive together because they get too complicated. Let's say that. Let's just learn it this way: that the Gemara asks the question, which way do you hold? On the one hand, you're saying that like Chachamim, that you go after that Abba Shlish is Kover, but the Tosefes Chayv, you understand like Rabbi Akiva, that like Rabbi Yonason, says she's Rabbi Akiva Rabbo, that after Abba Shlish we don't take anything else into account, and therefore there's no Isser Shvius involved. So when it says, okay, point of information, you know that Rabbi Yonason, Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yosef had also like Rabbi Akiva Rabo that there is this Svichim Doraisa, because otherwise you can't. Psukim are not relevant. Svichim Doraisa can tell us that no, we go after a shlish, and therefore Issa Svichim does not apply to anything so long as it grew a shlish during before Shemitah began. So again, there are lots of other interpretations here in the Gemara. We're going to go with that, even though it's not so glad because the other ones all have difficulties as well. You look in the article, you get some idea of that. And if you look in the Gra seems to severely cut this Gemara and doesn't seem to have as a question answer, which would be choppy, as you just said, just a statement of fact. Rabbi Yossi is Shitas Rabo that the Issa Svichas Doraisa, but it doesn't apply as long as it brought Shlish before Shemitah began. If you have Pachas Mishlish, so the Gemara said if it was a less than a Shlish, Lifnei Shvius, V'nichnas Shvius, and Shvius came in, then Asur Mishum Svichim. It's a continuation, right? V'cholal, and the Gross Girsa here is not V'lochal and Kedusha Shvius, V'cholal and Kedusha Shvius, right? There are two issues by Shemitah. One is the issue of Svichim, that they're Asur, and the other is that Peiros Ha'ilon have Kedusha Shvius. So therefore, again, according to the Gra, and we're going, that's the most simple shot here, the Chola Alein Kedusha Shvius, not below Chola Alein Kedusha Shvius like the Gemara has, but Chola Alein Kedusha Shvius, they both, the Kedusha Shvius applies to, Svichim applies to the wild growth of the field, and Shvius applies to the peros which grow on the ilonos. Now, also going to the Gra, continuing on according to the Gra, the next line, the Gra really seems to take it out together. No, he cuts it out. Let's go together. He moves them. That goes on the next part of the Gemara. Hey, where it says, "It be a pachas mishlish ifnei shminis." Let's maybe pachas mishlish before shminis. And it says shminis. Mutaras lam mishum shvichim. There is no problem with shvichim. Obviously, because by they go after shvius, and also for lochal eklush shvius. Shvius is not evolve upon them because they go upon the shminis. And now we put in the lines. Shekvar hayu asavim. Because during Shemitah, they're only grass. It's less than a shlish. The shvius does not apply to grasses. And that brings us to a, well, it's not really a new sugya, but there's 2 dots in the Kabanaki, and there is even a dot in the article, so we will stop here for today and pick up for tomorrow and for that Gimel. Remember that Gersa Sagra makes everything much easier.